you're when you're on the little screen, you look like a little kid. Because I'm looking down at my computer. I know you're looking up at it,
Yeah.
So it just looks like you're just this little kid.
Well, I'm also like, I think you're quite tall and I'm actually very short.
I know, and I'm on the kitchen table, so I don't have my chair stuck down. So I can move it up.
Liz, how tall are you?
How tall am I? I'm 5'4".
I'm 5'2".
Really?
On a good day. Yeah.
I'm 6 feet tall.
Hang on. I have to mute something because we're now live and I'm listening to us. Hang on 1 second. I'm gonna mute us over there. I was wondering that because I'm like, I wonder when I see Sarah, like, is she like 9 feet tall? Or Christine's very tall.
Yeah, I'm 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
5'11" and something, but we just round up.
And how tall is Ben? Because like, I saw your photos. Like you look like you have a difference in height there.
He's I mean he's not 5'4". He's about 6 feet tall.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He's about my height.
So yeah, okay, I'm gonna be like, I'll look your child. That's like, I'll just because my husband's 6'4".
I dated a guy who was 6'4" once, and it was just like I was like, hello.
Oh, well, you met my child. My children are 6'4" and 6. They look
6'8". Huge.
Yeah. When I look teeny, you guys like it could be fun. I could rent them out just so you look teeny and young because everyone like my smaller, shorter friends just look like children around my kids.
So the worst is like if you have to be like at a wedding or like some sort of dance or something where I'm like 30 seconds and I'm like, this is great. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Like I can't, my neck can't do it.
So if you guys click on the link that I sent you, it should take you, we are live streaming on YouTube. I have it set to unlisted. So unless you have that link, which only you guys do, you wouldn't be able to see it, but it looks really good. It's like on a slight delay, but it looks good.
Very good. So I know I'm already getting people that are headed their way into the game today. So, I'm
not recording though. We are streaming live, but I'm not recording. Hold on. So I'm going to start if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah, we are cool to start.
Okay, record on this computer. There's a lot happening now because I'm seeing us over here.
I wish I didn't have a meeting right before this that I was not anticipating. I would have fixed my makeup.
Well, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm not wearing makeup. We're all good because hockey players we're cool, cute, and natural.
Yeah. And right now we only have one person watching this stream, and it's me. So yes. So for anybody listening, hello, welcome to our episode today. We are practicing going live on YouTube because we heard that's a thing we are supposed to do. So this is our practice run. If all goes well, we will do this again and share the link. Share the link with everybody else as well.
There you go. That's what
you brought a drink, Frank. You're so prepared. Okay.
I was doing an Instagram photo before, so
it's good. It's good.
So I have a little. Yes, I have a big drink. Plus, I had to work with people today, so I'm gonna start it early.
I'm gonna put a beer fridge in here.
I was gonna say, I know I need like a little bar under my desk now.
So I found a great pairing for today, but I forgot about. So I think we need to do an extra little story post because I forgot about our special drink, which needs to go out, the shot thing. But I love that I actually found a couple. I did my little search of shame because if you're watching, you're headed into the game today. This is the last game for the break. Then we're going to have, I don't know, we got a long break. So, but tonight they're playing the Vegas Golden Knights. And as my post said, we were shamed royally when we were there. We did win. So tonight, hopefully we shame them and we win.
So and for anyone who has not been to a Golden Knights game, Christine and I had that experience earlier at the end of last year. We went to the Rangers Golden Knights game and we learned that whenever the opposing team in Vegas, gets a penalty, the entire crowd starts shouting shame, like that scene from Game of Thrones.
Your full arm,
like full on pointing to the offender.
Shame.
So we had a moment of utter confusion about why the whole crowd was doing it, but it was absolutely hilarious. So
that view, like that whole moment of you looking down at me and I doing that back is definitely a memory that will stick forever. I can't wait to. It'll get the look of
your face out of my mind.
But it'll be you know what I feel? It feels it's going to be a bar thing. So when we're at a place outside and you're like, or, you know, in public rather, like, and you're at the other side of the bar, you know, you're going to look at me and I'm just going to, or one of us is going to be like, shame.
I would actually encourage if anyone is going to the game tonight, for them to shame the Golden Knights right back.
Oh, I hope so. We need to kind of break it up. We need to kind of and just end this. You know, it's gonna be a good game. Like right now, looking earlier, the stats for both these teams are pretty fairly even. So we're going in evenly matched tonight. So it's just a matter of like, do you want to, you know, head off into this all-star break with a win and separate ourselves from the two teams who are trying to catch up to us, you know, or do we lose and then the trade rumors will be, you know, it's just gives us a week and a half for people to drum up all the rumors in the world.
Yeah, and especially coming off that very, very disappointing loss to the Maple Leafs earlier this week. I gotta say,
was it yesterday?
Was it?
No, it was 2 days ago. It feels like it was yesterday,
doesn't it?
But did you watch the game?
I was able to catch most of it. So I was away at a work conference this week, but I was able to catch most of it. And wow, what a disappointment. I thought the Rangers were playing well, you know, just from a standpoint of being a fan. And we have a lot of friends in Toronto and there's a lot of friendly rivalries. So to lose that one and sort of the way that happened, you know,
it's a trendy thing now. Let's get the whole game and tie it up with a few minutes to go. And
you know what's upsetting about that is I remember back in December, maybe early December, late November, we had a string of losses that looked real familiar. They looked like that, and then it seemed like the Rangers sort of broke out of that streak, and then this one reminded me of a game like that. And for them to, you know, to let the Maple Leafs tie it up and then to lose so quickly in overtime. Yeah, so I didn't have a chance to see the whole game. I mean, I watched the highlights, but were you able to watch the whole thing? What do you think, Christine?
You know, it was a good game. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I hear what you're saying with that trend. The only thing I think that's different is, you know, I'm seeing it across the league. You know, and what I kept feeling last night or 2 nights ago was, I feel like we can't catch a break because when we're not playing, I'm watching the other games and the everybody we want to lose they might be losing, but they're going in losing in overtime. So it's not just us,
everyone
that this is happening to. So you know, I know a lot of the people will feel like it's just us and we're cursed. I feel like we're cursed in a lot of ways. I'm like, we need to catch a break from like trying to catch up with points or you know, like last night it was the Penguins and the Capitals, and they went into overtime. So I'm like, dang it. So you know, I don't want any of those guys, honestly. Sorry, Sarah, I'd like to catch up. And the difference between the two teams is that the Penguins are a game behind us, so they can catch up. The Capitals are 2-3 games ahead of us. So you know, I'm really trying to be numerically strategic in what I'm seeing. But I'm like, we can't even get a break. Everyone's getting points in a way, even though they're losing. What I did notice, and one of the things I want to talk about was Drury. You know, I mean, you know, it was one of those like, who is that guy being all grumpy up there in the corner?
He's now a meme.
I know. So that it was a curious thing. I think I posted, somebody, you know, commented about the loss, and I'm like, looking at his face, he was not happy. So, you know, again, as we get closer to this trade deadline and the talks more and more, I mean, we're already seeing talk of things we can talk about in a minute. I just got the feeling things are going to happen. It may not be what we expect. So, I don't know what that is. That's just the initial feeling I get just watching him standing there and looking very he just
angry, bitter, upset.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw that, but I definitely caught that as well as the cameras did a couple times. So yeah, I think tonight's important because again, you've got a team that we're level set with. We've beat them before when they were hot. So let's see how the hometown crowd brings it. Let's see if we can end, this break and start the break with a win. And then I know that the other guys have been talking about, we get 10 days, they don't play for quite some time. So is that going to be good or is that going to be bad? They've shifted around a couple things. They sent Blade down. They pulled, that was cute too. So they brought up Cooley and he's a Toronto native and he made his NHL debut in his hometown.
Oh, I love that.
So that's a cute story. There's a lot of pictures of his mom hanging out with people and being really proud in a Rangers uniform. So, so that actually is a really cute story. So I'm glad that he was brought up and able to participate in that game because, I don't think a lot of people get a chance to do that. So that's a feel good story for that.
And speaking of feel good, look at Hedl looking sharp as anything. What a great game he had. And it was nice to see that because, obviously he was hurt, a couple of weeks ago. So for him to come back and really kind of dominate in the way that he did, he showed a lot of good signs early in the season. I remember we talked about him, but he's really coming into his own and he's really tall. So I think that I just assume he's older, but I think he's only like 23 years old. Like he has a whole career ahead of him. And that's really exciting.
It is. The only thing, he has come up in talks of trade and I think, in my opinion, he's the one who's maybe the best marketable player right now. So, let's see. But, here at the same time, I don't worry so much about these trades. The guys, I don't know how. I know the Rangers have this whole family feel that was created not too long ago with Zuccarello and Henrik and people and people who wanted to just spend the rest of their time as a player in New York. But it's a business. They're marketable and they're worth good money, and it benefits them too when they are. So so we'll see what happens. I think he's kind of one on the list and I hate to see a change for that, but I don't know. I saw Drury's face and I don't know. So, but I was really I loved how I was talking to someone about it on the phone in New York. My girlfriend was watching the game. And so, and I was trying to show her every time we score, we have something like that where he got the two goals. And how just not only is he happy and he just gets a smile and I love the camera catches it, but that everyone's just truly like, oh my God, we scored. They're just so genuinely happy about it. And I still feel that there's a difference when Toronto won in overtime and they're like, there's that someone was doing the little woo, and I'm like, I just don't like that kind of stuff. We're always, I always think we're just genuinely so excited we scored. It could be that's the way it looks and feels, and that's one of the things that just makes me happy about this team. That I don't think a lot of other teams have that. So I like that. So that so we've got a couple of things. Who else we got?
I got Laugh. That I think he's sort of the biggest question mark, I think, currently. And he had a couple of okay showings, but certainly nothing that would increase his value to not just the Rangers, but to any team that would be looking to pick him up.
So I'm starting to see defenders of Lafreniere and some of the younger players too, back off. Some people are like, yeah, they've had a year or two or three, but they're still young, so I think generally someone was saying there's a 5-year window, let them see, just give them time. And in some cases I've seen them comparing them to other players. What if we had given up on so-and-so before, if we had all this pressure, when they were in the first 2-3 seasons. So, so that's interesting how that tides are turning a little bit. I'm kind of seeing that little shift. Blay went back down. I think that was a good thing for conditioning. We got a break coming up. The idea is that he wouldn't stay long because then they'll have to, put Cooley on waivers.
And Blay looked good. I saw a clip from, I think it might've been his first game back with the Wolfpack, and he scored. Like he looked good. Maybe it's exactly what he needs. Maybe he needs a little reset.
I think so. I mean, I feel like, he may not be, obviously not 100% from the, from, it was a big injury. So give him a break on stuff. So we saw that change. Kravtsov is the next big item, talked about him. He's not playing. He's I don't know what's going on there. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. And Harper, with, getting signed. So he's obviously someone they want to keep. So that's good to see, and stuff. I have a fun topic. Did you see this thing this week with James Dolan?
Oh, well, I don't think any time that the words ban and alcohol are in a sentence together, it's
unless you take it away.
The fun category. But yes, I definitely wanted to talk about that. Sarah, did you see the news?
So I'm like, when is this going to happen? Not when we're there.
Could you imagine?
Oh no. Okay, hold on. No alcohol in MSG. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So there are some threats. There are some threats by James Dolan to not sell alcohol. I think as early as starting tonight. But I wonder. So Christine, give us the background about what happened.
I think the liquor license is coming due, from what I understand. And I saw a quick clip interview with him where he's like, basically it's a little game push, so he's like, we'll see.
I don't think it's the liquor license. It has something to do with some kind of, this gets weird. James Dolan has who's the owner of Madison Square Garden, has some kind of stake in some kind of like facial recognition company that does something. I don't know if it has to do with like sales of alcohol, and it like scans your face and it knows, you're over 21. But he's having this ongoing battle with like the state of New York Liquor Authority, and they're suing him, or somebody's suing him about this technology, and his response is, "Oh yeah, that's right. Well, we're just not going to sell. Okay, we're just not going to sell alcohol at Madison Square Garden anymore." Can you imagine? I don't know who that benefits in any way.
Well, he's going to replace it with a message saying, like, if you're not happy with this, let them know. So he feels that one day of not selling the alcohol will create so much chaos that they'll be bombarded with, like responses from the public.
What's alcohol sales at MSG? I mean, they gotta be pretty good.
I can only imagine.
I know.
I mean, if Christine and I ever go there, they'll probably double that day.
I know. I know what I've drank there. Yeah. And that's what's weird.
Thank you too, Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So apparently this is Dolan's quote. It's like something out of The Godfather, like it's only business. It's not only business. If you sue us, we're going to tell you not to come. If you're grandstanding with the press, etc., I'm going to tell you, go ahead, take away my liquor license. People are still going to come to the games. Then Dolan said the ban on alcohol wouldn't impact him because he's been sober for 29 years. He added that they will post flyers at stations where beer is normally sold that feature a picture. And this is the SLA, the State Liquor Authority's CEO, which will include his name and email and phone number.
Is marijuana legal in the state of New York?
It is.
So is everyone just gonna eat gummies at the game? Like, is that because you gotta have something.
Just like an hour and a half before, and then we go.
Those are coming.
I don't know if I could handle a hockey game.
I know, I don't know either. Or microdosing mushrooms. Like, I don't know. Like,
it's so funny. I just literally went in to get some more gummies, and the other day, and I was like, here we are, like through our 30s and 40s, whatever ages we are, like we're like, no, don't do drugs. And then you get to a certain age, you're like, where are those drugs? Yeah, I have some, please. I need to sleep. I need to work. I need to function. I need to deal with children. I need to deal with people. So
I honestly don't think I could handle a hockey game after an edible, because either time goes really slow, so I think the clock would just mess with me, and then if I wanted to like get up and do something, what would I get up and do? Like, I just don't know. I don't
Like,
know how I feel.
Can you imagine that, like at our Vegas game? Because we were already so high. I already felt there was a delay in time just from what we saw, because we were all the way at the top. And I can't imagine if it was even slower.
I also get so paranoid. So I just can't imagine watching a game and being like anywhere close to comfortable about what's happening anywhere.
If we need a guinea pig, I'll be it, because I function very well on both together.
Sarah, you're like Mikey. I mean, I thought we thought it was like me, but
yeah. But like, I don't know what it is, but like the gummies here, and if I have a beer or a wine with it, something in the alcohol and the pairing together, like I am on a whole other level and I'm having the best time.
I just want to remind everybody that we are all over 21. So this is all very, very above board on this podcast. Yes, but if you're not,
and it's real, because everyone's doing it.
Yeah, they are.
That's what I learned. And it's funny in New York, as I learned, because weed was legal here before it was even really truly legal. People just needed to go get a fake cart down at the beach and go get it anyway. But in New York, it's funny, because when I first went there and I saw they actually have like trucks, like we have taco trucks, they have like pot trucks that just drive around the streets, so
things have changed a lot in the last 15 years.
Convenient.
I know, right?
Cannot wait to see this.
So it's pretty good. So that'll be fun. That'll be a nice experiment, when and if and how, like, going on, just kind of relaxing a little bit. I don't know. I do like the beer. I do like the drinks, because we tend to, when I'm there, if people who do watch or listen know me, I get down to the bar early. And as we are announcing too, that we kind of tease, but we're definitely going to be in New York in March. We're going to be there early. I mean, pre-gaming usually before a 7:30 game. I'm usually down at my bar, which is Molly Wee's, around 4. It's usually quiet there, but that's where you can get a nice spot, because it does fill up. I think we're looking at going on a weekend, so it's going to fill up to standing room only. So getting down there early lets you get a chance to get a bite to eat. They have amazing food, and get a few drinks in, and and all the pictures, whatever. I think when we're there too, since as we're learning to go live, that's a good opportunity to go live on Instagram, because we have our phones. So all three of us can be on our phones doing Instagram from different parts of that bar. It's not very big. So that's, it's kind of, so I do like my drinks, and, and then getting in, and like hockey, like it's a beer and or a vodka drink. Oh yeah. And shots of Jameson. That's a problem for me, because I cannot drive after that. But I did that on my birthday.
Okay. We're going to be we're going to do this in a very safe way.
We will. And by the way, I'll also say, in case we're in New York,
disclaimer.
No, in case we're in New York and we end up in Brooklyn, my girlfriend's already offered to keep us. So I'm already kind of plotting out places where we end up. Is there room for the three of us? So I have a place in Brooklyn. I got Brooklyn covered.
I think I have Manhattan covered, just in case.
And we got Staten Island. So we need
any takers from Queens? Yeah, Queens. I'm sure we can dig a few people up. We're really fun. We're really fun. We promise.
She's like, I got a bed and a couch and a floor pillow work perfect.
I just hope we're all on speaking terms. What happens if by the time March rolls around, these games are going to be very, very important. And again, for anybody just tuning in, I'm going to say this every single episode. We are Double Dfense. We are an all-female New York Rangers podcast, except we have 2 New York Rangers fan and a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. Go figure. So,
and we're international too, by the way. So we're covering.
Yeah, we're coming to you
reporting from on the East Coast. We are on the West Coast, and we're in Northern Canada.
And in Canada, yeah.
I think we have our bases covered.
We're getting some, we got some good demo and targeting for potential advertising.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. We're definitely
so Sarah, are you going to bring the air horn?
No. Great question. No, I do have a cowbell I can bring. I don't want to bring it, but if you would like me to bring it, I have.
I'll bring you a whistle that doesn't work.
I I'm not really a big noisemaker like that. I like to like have a couple drinks and I'll scream, I'll shout. It'll be fun.
You know what I do think we need to do though, and this is going to come up, before we know it. We're almost at the end of January, and so we're looking at only a few weeks away from heading out to New York. But I think we need to get in touch with the ladies of the Penguins, because hopefully there will be a good Penguin fan contingent. It's going to be a great week, no matter what, with the Rangers playing the Penguins 3 times in March. So there's
3 times in March, 3 times in the same week.
In the same week.
Yeah.
What a schedule.
I did reach out to them when we were initially like booking stuff, and I'm going to do that again because I don't think anybody responded, but it was also so far out.
Yeah.
That'd be great too.
So we would definitely be planning a meetup group with them and see if, so we can do an invite, and just, these unsuspecting bars that we'll show up to, we'll enjoy every moment of our party that will just come with us. So, so definitely looking forward to that. That'd be great. I think we'll do a couple more posts onto the ladies of the NHL, which is a new kind of branch of the ladies of the Rangers and Stacey's groups that she keeps creating. So again, if you're listening to this, you're female. Males are invited, I think, too, to go into there, but it's really a group for women. And, for all the women that are listening, it's a good support thing. We all like hockey. We all like it in different ways. There's really no bad way to look at it and to enjoy it. And we've seen from fans of teams to not only me, I'm not the only one who's single and looking for somebody that really enjoys what I enjoy. So that's kind of one of the reasons when we started this, we were talking about it because someone else posted it first. And along with, fun merchandise and even just Stacey's got a great group where at least out on the West Coast, people are meeting and getting together. So if you're listening and you have a good group of people to listen to and you're outside the New York, it's easy in New York because you just show up anywhere and there's always fans. But if you're outside of these areas, get people together. We're learning to do that too. We're looking for local bars, in our area. And Sarah's up there connecting with Edmonton Oiler fans and family and everything, and it's really good to just find nice little pockets of people that we can just enjoy and watch games and talk about things, together. And it's been fun to grow this, continuously. I'm getting more and more texts from people who are going to the game tonight and supporting us in different ways, from wearing lucky blue thongs and shirts to beer selfies from Madison Square Garden in the bars. So it's just fun and I love seeing all that. Let's talk about Canada. So we were texting, there's a big shakeup with the coaches, and apparently a really bad announcer who can't pronounce anything was another big story. But
oh man, I have to say it, and I know you ladies already know, but like that Bruce Boudreau Vancouver Canucks situation really left a bad taste in my mouth last week, that to the point where I've barely watched any hockey this week, which is not like me. Even if I rewatched his highlights or whatever, it really, I'm getting back into it today, but it really was just very upsetting.
So Sarah, just to take a step back on that. Yeah. Can you go through sort of the background about what happened with him?
For sure. So Bruce Boudreau came to the Canucks about 14 months prior to his departure. He was signed first, and then I want to say he was signed halfway through a season. And then in the summer break of that season, Jim Rutherford, who came from the Penguins to Vancouver, there must have already been, they weren't friends, we'll say. No one has reported on that, but it's been quite obvious in this whole situation that Jim Rutherford was not a fan of Bruce Boudreau coaching. So Vancouver ownership, probably for the past 20 years close, have not been well liked by the fans. The moves they make, the way they talk about their team or their management or coaches in the press is very uncomplimentary, but nothing to the extent that we've seen here with this Bruce Boudreau situation. So they haven't been doing well. That's not a secret. I think at least up until Christmas, we heard all the time how they just keep losing. Luke Shen was a topic of conversation of being traded. I think we know he's not happy. There's a lot of talk that the captain is not the right captain. We see that in many other teams. But you know, there's been some moves and stuff, and they kind of came together after Christmas a little bit. You know, I saw on a board today, Christine, I think you were on it as well, that, you know, it's a race to the bottom for a draft pick, which I think is a stretch. I don't think that's the problem.
That's the thing. We have a lot of good teams on the bottom. Like it's a big, you know, it's a big shift, like teams that you don't normally see, you know, are at the bottom, and a mid-season firing of a coach.
Oh yeah. And
as unusual, you know.
And to Bruce Boudreau's record, I mean, he has one of the most strongest winning records in coaching in the NHL, and he's beloved by many, not only his players, but colleagues. So just from my notes here. So his last game was Saturday, January 21st. And throughout that entire game, he did his best to keep his emotions in check. You could see like the fans were cheering. You could hear it all, commentating everything. Everywhere you looked watching these games, whether the players were actually playing or they were like offside and penalty or whatever, everyone was just chanting and cheering for him. And it was really, really wonderful.
Supportive fans. That's unbelievable.
So supportive.
I can't imagine that happening in New York.
Can you imagine if it was opposite? You know,
I know. Like, and like the signs, like there's so many signs like Bruce, we love you. And they were everywhere. So that was beautiful to see. You could see him tearing up at many points of that game. And like, that's heart-wrenching. So it goes without saying, you know, no one ever deserves to be treated like that. The week prior, it had come out in one of the interviews with, I know both Jim Rutherford as the president, and I believe the GM, they both, not at the same time, threw him under the bus. And one of them indicated they had been interviewing for other coaches. So without talking to him, these have been rumors for weeks and months at this point. Everyone's kind of waiting for it, but they literally said the words out loud in the press, and it was pretty gross. So no one ever deserves to be treated like that. And that was a big part of the game too on Saturday, just everyone talking about that point.
And they turned around, and now Rick Tocchet is now coaching, which takes him away from the TMT announcers. Thank you for that, because I watched the game the other day, and then in a tribute to them, oh my God, I'm like, you know, you got Hank on the guitar and that singing. I was like, oh, good God.
You know, I saw a meme. I think it was this morning. It must have been a meme that I saw, because it was something like the TNT hockey commentating is the best, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not what I heard ever. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say terrible.
I'm so sad. Even like Henrik's on there, I'm like, oh no, you know, just come, just stay here and don't go there. But that was a whole hole to fill. He's doing a great job, you know, in doing that. And maybe with Henrik sitting there, you know, too, it kind of tones down Bissonnette a little bit, because listening to the, I don't know if you had that feed.
They wouldn't.
But I was like, oh, you're so lucky. People were like, I missed it. I'm like, you're so lucky. You know, and one guy was like, just relax. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting worked up about it. You are. I'm like, chill pills are free. So
what's your new line? Are you okay?
Yeah. Are you okay? I think you need a hug. Somebody should hug you. I haven't been there yet. So, but I'm ready. So, but I'm sure like as it builds up, I mean, again, we got this break, you know, we got to figure out what we're going to talk about next week, but we definitely can be talking about what we're going to do when we get into New York, as we're kind of planning our itinerary and seeing what happens during this All-Star break. We got 3 players in this game, so it'll be kind of fun to kind of keep an eye on, and we're still watching as people come back. I mean, I like seeing some of these teams even out the games on the level, so that we kind of know what, you know, we're not really that far from first place. We have this tight, you know, division as always. They are talking easily. We have one of the toughest schedules, you know, from now until the end. So, you know, the NHL, whoever schedules these things, is definitely not a Rangers fan. But
no, definitely not.
But you know, it's funny. Someone made a point. It was cute. Somebody posted something with a comparison from last year to this year. And they're like, look at where the Devils were. And so the Devils basically were maybe, I don't know, they were lower, maybe 6th, 7th place, and they moved up. So, you know, so they're in second. But the Rangers are right exactly in the same spot. And so someone's like, nice, nice point made, you know, very indiscreetly. And I agree with that. So, So that was good to see. We're really where we were last season, in that same spot. So is it bad? Is it good? It's fine right now. We are looking, with the way it's matched up, for wild card spots to be in our division. You know, I wish I would mix these up every once in a while, but no, we're stuck with, we're stuck with who we've got, and we've got to play them, and we've got to beat them to get anywhere. So I always will stand by that. The East Coast divisions are the more tougher divisions based on skill. And I think West Coast usually relies on physicality.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but in the ranking of what teams have the upcoming hardest schedule, I think the Rangers are number 2 in terms of the challenging teams that we are going to be up against, especially after, the All-Star break. It starts to get really tight. So anything can happen. I mean, I think there's probably very few teams that are really out of it at this stage, and very few teams who are definitely in it, except maybe Boston, who just keep winning. I know they lost the other night, but so they're human.
I think Devils lost too. Yay! I'm just celebrate the break. I'm like, we just need a break from you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone needs to stay healthy. I think Kreider, when he came back, I think he was probably still a little bit hurt. Like, he did not have a spectacular game in this last one. So hopefully he'll take some time, get a little massage from Mika, and be able to get back onto the ice following the All-Star break.
Yeah. So we're, that it'll be a curious thing to kind of keep an eye out for. I'm hoping, that we kind of see, just see them strengthen themselves. And the thing is, they know. I'm not like, we just talk, but I'm like, they know more than we do. So with what they have to do. So,
I don't know. I'm convinced Gallant listens to this podcast and he goes, oh, that's what I should do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to trade Hedel. Thank you, Christine. It was crazy.
Just Keely, and don't go near Kako. Don't touch him, because right now, everyone's trying to level set on Panarin. It's just like, literally, when everyone gets a break or something, then they're all over them. So, what I do want to see, and this is the one thing, is with Halak, I'm hoping when we come back that he has a few more opportunities to play. And that's the one thing that I think makes me a little nervous kind of going into these things, is this really just this heavy dependency on our man Shesterkin, who will score a goal, by the way, because in the last week we've spoken.
Wasn't he close?
It was inches. Do you? And I'm like, that his hunger just jumped up, 10 times more. So this is there. It's going to happen. And so you called it in the very first meeting, I think, too, with even when we were talking with those guys from Mind Your Pucking Business, like, you're like, he's going to score. So the fact that he came that close is astounding. And it was so fun to watch too.
Interesting. The game against Florida, which I don't think we've talked about yet, because I think that happened after we had recorded. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a team pull their goalie so early. I thought that was a really interesting move. And I was looking at the point differential between Florida and some of the other teams, and it looked like they really needed to try to up the number of goals that they were going to score. So I thought that was just a really interesting decision on the part of their coach to do that. I mean, I think they scored 1 goal after they pulled their goalie. And I think it was around the 10-minute mark with 10 minutes left to go. But I thought that was really interesting. And then when the Rangers scored the empty net, I was surprised that they even put the goalie back, because at that point, you're down 6-2. You're definitely not going to win. Why not just keep trying to hammer away? So I like when seeing coaches and teams, try something a little bit out of the box.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Are you seeing that on the Canadian side too? Because, I guess this is just, as we've kind of been paying it, I've been watching the games more, but this is really the first year as we're doing this, where I'm really paying attention to stuff. And I got to go to stats for things. So we're seeing just a different, and I'm also listening to the commentators talk about this year's, it's not like any other year, No. The overtimes still are going on crazy, so I think we're we're reaching, I think we're going to see like a record breaking kind of overtime, season. Are you seeing those kind of anomalies too on the Canadian teams, or with what you're, what you're following, Sarah?
Yes and no. Like, just the coaching thing for a second. Paul Maurice is the coach for the Florida Panthers, which he used to coach Pittsburgh. And I also read earlier today when I was looking at Bruce Boudreau stats, Bruce Boudreau, I think, has the longest winning record, or he's got some sort of phenomenal record for coaches. He's in the top 20 of all time for NHL, but Paul Maurice has like the highest losing, which is interesting. So that, comment you made, Liz, about him pulling the goalie so early, like, that's so strange to me. I don't know. Anyways,
but that makes sense with what you were looking at. Like,
yeah,
looking at like their division and stuff. That makes sense, because it's not just about winning. There's other
especially
factors involved.
Yeah, when it gets tight and we get toward the end of the season, you never know when some of those stats become helpful.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Coaching wise, in Calgary, there's a lot of rumors of the tension between Daryl Sutter and their GM. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I mean, Sutter's a great coach. He's coached that team many times over the years. He comes, he goes, he's back again. So I don't think you're going to really see any change there. But from an overtime perspective, I did want to ask you guys, we've touched on multiple times in the last few episodes about how many overtime periods we're seeing. Do we think they're going to do something to change that for next season? Do you think there'll be some sort of something that will lead
I think not a chance.
outcome?
I think the more they go into overtime, the more exciting it is, the more great clips the NHL gets to put out onto Sports Center. I think they love it. So I don't think they're going to change a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing it a little longer. Because I hate shootouts,
I know. I hate shootouts too.
but that's the thing too. The other thing too, that I'm seeing, which, for me personally, in the beginning of the year, what did I say? I'm like, I need to see them shooting. I want 30 plus games, in shots. And what are we seeing with these teams? Like last night, there was a couple of 40 shot games, and and was it Tampa Bay? Who was it that was like 65? I'm like, it's crazy. And Steve Alakette was talking about it too. They're like, before, a couple of years ago, where we'd see, statistically, if you're hitting 30 shots, you're pretty much guaranteed to win, but we're not seeing that.
No.
So
I'm thinking it's because some of the strategy has changed. I think the goalies have gotten so good that the best case scenario, and we talk about this a lot with the Rangers and what they tend not to do, but a lot of it is just create chaos in front of the net, keep shooting, try to go for a rebound, because getting that goalie frustrated or confused, I think sometimes it's the only way that you're going to be able to get around him. I mean, look at Shesterkin, the guy can do like splits. I mean, just like the flexibility and the quickness. So I don't know if it's a conditioning thing or they're training goalies differently than maybe, they were 10 to 15 years ago, but it's a different kind of sport. And I think that the game sort of had to evolve to be able to challenge goalies a little bit more. All the goalies have been good. Like, I mean, it's like everyone seems really, maybe just because I'm watching Ranger games and against the Rangers, they just all, I mean, we talked about that the other day too. Why are goalies like seemingly performing so well against the Rangers? But they're looking, the athleticism of, Shesterkin, but also Halak in some of these games, and the guys, the goalies over in Boston, like it's really impressive.
We are seeing overall too, which is another thing that kind of came out, is now the secret's out. Like, younger players are better. so where was like the Vegas Golden Knights in their first season, and then the Rangers kind of, last year had the youngest team. We're now the fourth youngest team, and there was I might post it up, but there was somebody that kind of posted the different like average ages of the, some of these top 10 teams, which they're really going younger. So when that makes a difference too. For years we had these seasoned players, we knew they're predictable, yet they still score, and that's not as easy to do when you bring these younger players on. So now that the cat's out of the bag and people are all like, "Ooh, we got to do it too."
So true.
So we
I
are
don't want it to be like, emotionally,
strategy.
I don't want that to be true. But yeah, definitely.
Well, with that, again, the younger, from a business standpoint, the younger players are so marketable because they're resilient and, and they're quicker. And I've always kind of wanted to see more East Coast, I think, plays a lot of good strategy, and West Coast plays a lot more, physicality in their game. And I kind of want to see that shift a little bit. Not really the West Coast. I want to see like East Coast teams really up their physicality. Most of these teams, really, honestly, they can be physical, but they're not, because they kind of, that's not really the way they play each other, So when you're kind of seeing it get physical, that's when it gets exciting.
I'm just thinking like the older I get, the more like I sleep and I wake up and I'm like, oh, why does that hurt? It's like, I must have slept wrong. Like not even from an injury. And I can't,
I literally have an ice pack right now on my arm. Yeah, that's you're talking. I'm like,
it's like, what did you do? You're like, nothing.
I dreamt of a check, and now I'm feeling it, didn't even do anything.
Oh, I have to say, once I turned 38, it was just like I hurt all the time. Like there's just no
see, that's no rhyme or
reason.
So can you imagine these older players, like in their late 30s and going through what they've
like Yager. Look at Yager. He's still playing and he's like 50. I don't know how he's doing it. HGH, I have no idea.
Yeah.
What's the secret?
And coming back with the injuries, it's like a girlfriend of mine, a couple of players recently in the last couple of weeks lost teeth. So they're just like, oh, okay, here you go, take it. Okay, I got to go back out on my shift. Just save it for me, So even that, I mean, if we lost a tooth, I would cry, scream, cry. I'm like, oh God, no, they're just like, here, can you hold this for me? And that there's been at least 2 guys in the last 2-3 weeks that have had that happen. So
and how about Letang, who had a stroke and then was playing a couple of weeks later?
Like, I know.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
How's he doing?
I saw a highlight where he was playing again this week because he was on the injured reserve list. So because I haven't watched any hockey this week, I really can't comment. But the fact that I've seen him in the pictures means that he's back there. He was with Sid, so they scored a goal.
Amazing.
I know I've spoken to my own personal thoughts on that in the past, and Christine and I talked about it at length. He must love the game. His family must know his wishes. Should like something awful happen, he drop and hurt himself on the ice and never play again. That must be the way he wants to go out. I don't know. I can't imagine the insurance on this guy, but clearly he loves the game.
It's an interesting thing because as a hockey mom, my kids have been playing hockey since they were, 4 years old. So I actually watched hockey parents, go through multiple concussions, and injuries with their own children when they were younger. Mm-hmm. And my kids are bigger. We didn't have injuries like that. I remember one time my son fell on the ice and the coach came out. He's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I'm just tired." He's like, "What are you doing?" So my kids really weren't injured. But as a parent, I've seen some of these kids injured, and then the parents are just keep playing. I'm like, I'm not going to risk my child damaging not being able to function when they're 35 just because they, going to play a game now. But parents did that. So it's actually a curious question, to ask a player, because we're only seeing what they're doing now, but they've gone through a whole life of hockey and what kind of injuries they've sustained, in their youth hockey too. So it's amazing what parents, how they push. And I've seen, and hockey players in general, I think they're just born tough. I mean, I've watched 6-year-olds puke in a trash can and go play, I'm like, oh my God. So I've seen it all. And it's just, that's what they want to do. Yeah. So there's just some good, just this resilient quality that they have about them in their blood. So
he clearly loves the game, and that good for him. It's just concerning as somebody watching that perhaps that's not the best option, but it doesn't matter. He's playing. Everyone seems to be fine with it, and just interesting to watch. Would make a great documentary.
Yeah, there you go.
Like when he's done.
You guys are set for life on shows.
You would think so.
We're working on it.
Well, on that note, ladies, thank you. I think we have a lot to look forward to. Maybe we'll do a little all-star game report as well, and then I think we have some interesting ideas for a couple of new episodes while we're on a little bit of a break coming up. So we'll dive into that with you, and more info coming for sure on New York soon.
Yay, and thanks for watching us for the first time. So hopefully you're checking us out on video as well as audio. Come check it out if you're doing one and you can see the other, and look for us more.
Thank you.
Right.
See you soon.
Bye guys. Thank you.
Bye.